sons and all his seed from every trouble that they would befall them, because he had done this thing, and through his love to his God, still his compassion for his child. And have you not heard what the God did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and Abimelech, king of Gerar, through taking Abraham's wife, who said of all her, she is my sister, lest they might slay him on account of her? Abraham lied and said that was his sister, which it was his wife, because she was so beautiful. He was afraid that they would take his wife by force and kill him. It wouldn't, I guess it didn't profit to have a gorgeous woman in them days. And God did unto him and their people all that you heard of. And behold, we ourselves saw with our own eyes that Esau, the brother of Jacob, came to him with 400 men, with the intention of slaying him. For he called to mind that he had taken away from his father's blessing. And he went to meet him. And when he came from Syria to smite the mother with the children, and who delivered him from his hands, but his God, in whom he trusted, he delivered him from all the hand of his brother, and also from the hands of all his enemies. And surely he again will protect him. God got these own prophets out of their own mouth to testify to the power of God. That's God's power, turning the wicked around, even having them testify about his power in his earth, his omnipotence in his earth. Who does not know that it was the God that inspired them with strength to do us in our town, Shechem, the evil which you heard of? Said God gave him strength to kill all those men in the town by themselves. Could it then be with their own strength that two men could destroy such a large city as Shechem? Had it not been for their God, in whom they trusted, he said and did unto them, all this is to slay the inhabitants of the city, in their city. This is their backyard. These two men went in their backyard and killed everybody. Didn't even know the city like that. And can you prevail over them who have done forth together from your city to fight with the whole of them? Even if 1,000 times as many men should come to your assistance, surely you know and understand that you do not come to fight with them, and you come to war with their God. You're not going to fight with them. You're going to fight with their God, and that's what's been lost in this generation today, that's fighting God and fighting God's prophets, thinking that they're fighting God's prophets, but they're fighting God, trying to shut the prophets down. That's saying time's up for the wicked. It's going to be a shift. And now God has gotten pissed off because he is the Godfather, pulling strings on his own word. And now they're starting to drop like flies, the enemies of God. Then I forgot. That's because God been quiet for a long time. There's nobody more gangster than God. You heard me say that with the street priests over the years. He's the real Godfather. And now he's knocking heads around and letting this world know as he smashes his fist into it. I'm the boss. I'm running this earth. Taught Nebuchadnezzar a hard lesson, 7 years of insanity. Drove him out into the fields with the beast and the ox, eating straw. And when he came to his senses, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, said, I realize now that God rules in the kingdom of men, set up who he want to set up, to take down who he want to take down. And that's the hard lesson that's going to be learned about these days. Prideful jackass politicians of the day and world leaders. God's the boss. He got to take you out. One angel killed 185,000 on Sennacherib's army. One angel. God got a myriad of angels. That was just one. He got more than enough power as a disposal. This guy here is saying all the right stuff about the God we serve. Now therefore, refrain from this evil which you have endeavored to bring upon yourselves, and it will be better for you not to go to battle with them, although they are few in number, because their God is with them. And when the kings of the Amorites heard all the words of their advisors, their hearts were filled with terror, and they were afraid of the sons of Jacob, and would not fight against them. And when they inclined their ears to the words of their advisors, and they listened to all their words, and the words of the counselors, greatly pleased the kings, and they did so. And the kings turned and refrained from the sons of Jacob. They hightailed it out of there. They said, we don't want none of this. They already wiped out a town of thousands of men by themselves. We ain't no match for that. Just two men. Two of the sons of Jacob. And the kings turned and refrained from the sons of Jacob, for they durst not approach them to make war with them, for they were greatly afraid of them, and their hearts melted within them for the fear of them. For this proceeded from the Lord to them, for he heard the prayers of his servants Isaac and Jacob. For they trusted in him, and all the kings returned with their camps on that day, each to his own city, and they did not at that time fight with the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob kept their station that day, all evening. They were posted up just in case they started to return, opposite Mount Sion. And seeing that these kings did not come to fight against them, the sons of Jacob returned home. And they said, we're going to wait a little extra just in case they're going to backtrack. At that time the Lord appeared unto Jacob, saying, Arise, go to Bethel, and remain here, and make there an altar to the Lord, who appeared unto thee, who delivered thee, and all thy sons from affliction. Return to the place where you made a pact with Esau. Bethel means house of the Lord. I believe it was a portal too. Some kind of portal to heaven. A doorway to heaven. And Jacob rose up with his sons and all the belongings to him. And they went and came to Bethel according to the word of the Lord. And Jacob was 99 years old when he went to Bethel. And Jacob and his sons and all the people that were with him remained in Bethel in Luz. And there built an altar to the Lord, who appeared unto him. And Jacob and his sons remained in Bethel 6 months. At that time did Deborah, the daughter of Uz, the nurse of Rebekah, who had been with Jacob. And Jacob buried her beneath Bethel, under a Novi, I guess it's it, that was there. And Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the mother of Jacob, also died at that time in Hebron. The same is Kirisheba, or Karithaba, excuse me. And she was buried in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth. And the life of Rebekah was 133 years. And she died. And when Jacob heard that his mother Rebekah was dead, he wept bitterly for his mother, and made a great mourning for her, and for Deborah, her nurse, beneath the oak. And he called the name of that place Alan Baca. And Laban the Syrian died in those days. For God had smote him, because he transgressed the covenant that executed between him and Jacob. And Jacob was 100 years old when the Lord appeared unto him, and blessed him, and called his name Israel. And Rachel, his wife, and Rachel, the wife of Jacob, conceived in those days. And at that time, Jacob, all belonging to him, journeyed from Bethel to go to his father's house in Hebron. And while they were going on the road, and there was yet but a little way to come to Ephraim, Rachel bare a son, and she had hard labor, and she died. And Jacob buried her in the way of Ephraim, which is Bethlehem, and he set a pillar upon her grave, which is there until this day. And the days of Rachel were 45 years, and she died. And Jacob called the name of his place that was born to him, which Rachel bare to him, Benjamin. The name of the son was Benjamin. That's the baby. It means light bearer, if I'm not mistaken. For he was born to him in the land on the right hand. And it was after the death of Rachel that Jacob pitched his tent in the tent of her handmaid Bilhah. And Reuben was jealous for his mother, Leah, on account of this. And he was filled with anger. And he rose up in his anger and went and entered the tent of Bilhah. And he thence removed his father's bed. He had sex with his father's concubine. It's a little less than a wife. That's like a mistress. And that time, the portion of birthright together with the kingdom and the priestly, he forfeited his birthright by screwing his dad's concubine, was removed from the sons of Reuben because of that act. Because he was the oldest. The oldest got the inheritance, right? For he had profaned his father's bed, and the birthright was given unto Joseph, the kingly office, to Judah, and the priesthood to Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed. So it was fragmented. All the offices that he and his descendants were held was forfeited. The lawmaking, the priestly, all that was forfeited. All right, where was I? And surely you know the God of the Hebrews is much delighted with them, for they were delighted with him. For they know that he delivered them from all their enemies. And behold, through his love toward God, Abraham took his only and precious son and intends to bring him up a burnt offering to his God. And had it not been for God who prevented him from doing this, he would have done it through the love to his God. And God saw all the works and swore to him and promised him that he would deliver his sons and all his seed from every trouble that was to befall him, because he had done this thing. And through his love of his God, stifled his compassion for his child. And have you not heard that the God did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and Amalek, king of Gerar, through taking Abraham's wife? How did I get on that? Oh, I flipped the page. Sorry about that. I don't know how I did that. Sorry about that. Somehow I flipped the page. Yep, I ain't perfect. Things happen. I was talking about Benjamin. And in those days, the generation of Jacob were born to him. Penry, the son of Jacob, was 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, the firstborn, and Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and their sister Dinah. And the sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, were Gad and Asher. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, were Dan and Naphtali. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Pandora. And Jacob and his sons, and all belonging to him, journeyed and came to Mamre, which is in Kereth Haba. This is in Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned, and Jacob with his sons, and all that belongs in him, his father in Hebron. And his brother Esau and his sons and all their belongings to him went to the land of Seir and dwelt there, had possessions in the land of Seir. And the children of Esau were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly in the land of Seir. And these are the generations of Esau that were born to him in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Esau were 5. And Adah bore to Esau his firstborn, Eliphaz. And also bare to him Reuel. And Halabah bare to him Jehush, Yam, and Korah. These are the children of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, was Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, Kenaz, Amalaz. And the sons of Reuel were Nuckoth, and Zarek, and Shammah, and Mizah. And the sons of Jewish were Timah, and Alva, and Jether. And the sons of Yaslan were Allah, and Phina, and Kenaz. And the sons of Korah was Teman, Mephaz, Magdiel, and Elam. These are the families of the sons of Esau, according to the dukedoms in the land of Seir. Duke, just remember that. Where do we have dukes in the world? And these are the names of the sons of Seir, the Horite, inhabitants of the land of Seir: Lotan, Shobal, Zebulun, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishon, being 7 sons. And the children of Rapha were Hori, Heman, and their sister Timnah. That is Timnah, who came to Jacob and his sons, and they would not give ear to her, and she went and became a concubine to Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and she bare him Amalek. And the sons of Sheba were Alvin, Mahath, Ebal, Shepha, and Onan. And the sons of Zebulun were Aha, and Anna. And this was Anna, who found the Yemen in the wilderness when he fled with the asses of Zebulun, his father. And while he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness different times to feed them. And there was a day when he was bringing them to one of the deserts on the seashore opposite of the wilderness of the people. And while he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea and rested upon the asses that were feeding there, and they all stood still. And afterward, about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea, and they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. And these animals, from their middle downward, were all the shape of the children of men. And from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of kephas, with tails behind it. So this is some kind of animal hybrid. And from between their shoulders reaching down to the earth, like the tails of a dukapa. And these animals came and mounted and rolled up on these asses and led them away. And they went away until this day. So some kind of strange hybrid came out. Now they done found, in case you want to mock this, they done found centaurs, skeletons of centaurs, satyrs, and all other kind of with horns protruding out of them. So this is no longer some fairy tale or bedtime story. These animals really existed. These aren't myths as they've been portrayed. These people were telling accurate history of what they saw. They saw on the walls of Egypt. You have men with bird heads and male bodies. And dog head. They had the dog head people. There was legends of them. These all existed. Because back then they was doing genetic mutation and everything else, just like they're doing now. Bob said that doing its Atlantean civilization was very more far advanced, and we're just coming along to the level they were already on. It was very advanced in all the sciences. The Bible says nothing new under the sun. So yeah, I believe this. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail. And when he fled from the place, and when he saw his work, he was exceedingly afraid of his life. And he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to us, his sons and brothers, all that happened to him. And many men went to seek the asses and could not find them. And Anna and his brethren went to move that place from the day following, for they were greatly afraid for their lives. They moved from the place. And the children of Anna and the sons of Seir were Dishon, and his sons Havilah, or Havilah. And the children of Dishon, or Dishon, or Hamda, Eshban, Ithran, and Chon. And the children of Ezer was Bilhah, and Zalman, and Achan. And the children of Dishon were and Aaron. These are the families of the children of the sons of the Horite, according to their dukedoms in the land of Seir. And Esau and his children dwelt in the land of Seir, the Horite, the inhabitants of the land, and they had possessions in it and were fruitful, and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob and his children, and all belonging to him, dwelt with their father Isaac in the land of Canaan, as the Lord had commanded Abraham their father. All right. And in 150th year life of Jacob, that is the 9th year of Jacob's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Paddan. And in those days Jacob journeyed with his children from Hebron, and they went and returned to the city of Shechem, they and all their belongings to them, and they dwelt there. For the children of Jacob obtained a good, fat pasture, land for their cattle, and in the city of Shechem, the city of Shechem having them been rebuilt, and there were in it about 300 men and women. And Jacob and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in the part of the land which Jacob had bought from Hemor, the father of Shechem, when he came from Padan, before Simeon and Levi had smitten the city. And all those kings of Canaan and the Amorites that surrounded the city of Shechem heard that the sons of Jacob had again come to Shechem and dwelt there. And they said, shall the sons of Jacob, the Hebrew, again come to the city and dwelt therein after they had smitten inhabitants and driven them out? Shall they now return and also drive out those that are dwelling in the city, or slay them? And all the kings of Canaan again assembled, and they came together to make war with Jacob and his son. And Jehovah, king of Tabra, went also, and all the neighboring kings, to Elam, king of Gaish, and to Ahimaaz, king of Shiloh, and to Parathon, king of Shazar, and to Susi, king of Sarta, and to Laban, king of Bethhoron, and to Shiloh, king of Ophni, saying, come up and assist me. Let us smite Jacob and the Hebrew and his sons, and